Hello everyone, my name on the gallery is Leora18. If you want to download any of my Sims or houses, any of my content, I do not use custom content. Please stay tuned and subscribe. Enjoy! Hello everyone, I'm Leora Sims. Welcome to another Create a Sim showcase. This is a very special Create a Sim showcase to me. Because I actually created a sim of a real person. And a person that I admire and who has helped me in my life a lot. But this is a person that I don't actually know, because I guess you could say this person is a celebrity. And I have her in her formal wear, which is something that I don't normally do in Create a Sim Showcase videos. So, let's get started. This is Mia Sankowitz. Her traits are family-oriented, perfectionist, active, quick learner. Her aspiration is computer whiz. Mia Sankowitz is one of the people who was on my favorite reality TV show. To say my favorite reality TV show is very unusual for me, you should know. I don't like to watch reality TV. But this show that Mia Sankowitz was in really touched me. And that show is called Push Girls. Push Girls was on for 2 seasons. I don't believe it's
Uh-huh.
coming back. I've tried to do a lot of research on Push Girls to see if it's coming back
Hmm.
for a 3rd season, and I haven't found any information. I've only found information up to season 2. It really saddens me that Push Girls, which was on the Sundance Channel, is off the air. Because it gave me a lot of inspiration. And I hope that Sundance reconsiders that and brings Push Girls back.
Hmm.
As some of you know, I have a physical disability and a slight visual impairment. And when it comes to disabilities, I have always been the educator, the one telling people about
Oh.
disabilities one representing people with disabilities. And sometimes that's a little tiring, but I'm glad that I do it. I'm also a human being, and sometimes it gets to me. And when I needed inspiration myself, I would turn on Push Girls. And Push Girls surrounds four women, four beautiful young women who just happen to be in wheelchairs. They have normal lives. They are normal. The reason I love the show Push Girls so much is because they showed people with disabilities as normal. And a lot of times in media, you see people with disabilities as the other, as the thing you don't want to be. And a lot of times, people think of a disability as a problem, but they also think of it as a person with a disability's only problem. They don't believe that they have anything outside of their disability. No love life, no religious life, no political life. A lot of people believe that, or at least portray that they believe that a person with a disability has a disability, and that
Hmm.
disability is their only identity. In the past, I was asked to date men who have disabilities for the sole reason that they have a disability. Um, I remember somebody was trying to fix me up with a gentleman, and they said he's in a wheelchair or he has a disability like you. And I said, great. Um, why do you think we would be good together? Um, what does he like to do? What do you think we have in common? Because I really do believe that it does work when people are fixed up. I've seen it happen very often that when you're fixed up with friends or relatives, a marriage or a relationship really works because because you
Ah.
get to know the person you're fixed up with, and the people fixing you up usually have the best of intentions, and it just a lot of times really works. So I was open to being fixed up, but I said, what does this person have in common with me? Why do you think we would be a good match? And my friend said, well, he's in a wheelchair. Okay, what else? Well, I didn't think of that. What do you mean you didn't think of that? People with disabilities love dogs, or they love cats, or they don't love dogs and they don't love cats, or they're clean. You have people who are messy and people who are neat and people who love sports and people who don't love sports, and people usually find love based on commonality and an understanding of the other person's heart. And while having a disability is something in common, and it is something that a person can build upon, if that's the only thing that keeps people together is that you got two people in wheelchairs, it doesn't work because you need to have more in common with a person than a wheelchair. to make a romance work or to make a friendship work. So relationships don't change because somebody has a disability. People with disabilities find love all the time, and they find love with people who have disabilities, and they find love with people who don't have disabilities. And both ways are fine as long as everybody loves each other. But a lot of times people want to fix up a person with a disability with another person with a disability, or they don't even think that they want to love life at all. And that's happened to me. That's happened to me a lot. And the other thing is, if a person with a disability gets together with an able-bodied person, there's a lot of people that don't understand that in this world. They'll understand it, I guess, if the person was in an accident, but if a person was born with a disability, it's very hard for them to understand why uh, the person without the disability could tolerate them. And they put up with them for the same reason the person with a disability puts up with them, usually because they love them. Because people with disabilities are the same as everybody else. And they have the same wants, the same desires. There's plenty of people with disabilities who have children and who want children and are very good parents and very good spouses and very good friends. Um, and the So Puss Girls really represented that well. The girls on Puss Girls represented that well. And I'm very sad that the show went off the air. Very sad. In a show, there's always somebody that you like or relate to more. And for me, the person that I related to the most was Mia Sankowitz, because I felt watching her on the show that we had a lot of the same fears and worries and dreams and goals and attitudes and, yes, sometimes experiences. I am not paralyzed. I was born with a physical disability, and there are times, though, that I walk better than other times. Um, sometimes people with sometimes people who have been paralyzed don't know that a person with a disability their whole life could relate to them, because they think, well, you don't know what I'm going through because you've always been disabled and I haven't, and now I got to deal with this new thing of being disabled. But you don't go through that. And I will say to those people that I do go through that. When I have physical therapy, I do wonderfully. When the insurance company won't pay for the therapy, I do horribly. There has been, or at least horribly by my own standards, there have been times that I've walked from across the room. I've walked across the room with no problem. I mean, of course, it looks funny to a lot of people, but I've been able to do it. Even though it looks funny to a lot of people, I don't care. Um, and there are times when I don't have the therapy that I can't get up out of the chair that I'm sitting in. when that happens, even a person that has had a disability their whole life will feel a loss of function and a loss of independence. And my favorite episodes with Mia were the episodes with her in a pool. Um, you see here that I made Mia the Sim active. I made Mia the Sim active because Mia is an athlete. She now does adaptive sports, but she was very, very gifted in swimming before her accident, and she was um, very used to doing swim meets, and I believe that when she became paralyzed, she had just tried out for. I know that she just tried out for a swim team. I'm not sure if she tried out for the varsity or the junior varsity swim team, but she made it. And because of an AVL, which is similar to a um, aneurysm that ruptured in her spinal cord, she became paralyzed. All the other girls were paralyzed due to a car accident on Puss Girls. But Mia was paralyzed because of this AVL. And before that, she was an athlete. And she's still an athlete. But she asked the doctors if she would ever be able to play sports. And they said yes. But in one episode where she's talking about the swimming, she said that what she was really asking in her heart was, can she swim? Because swimming is her sport of choice, and it is her first love. And she didn't swim for 17 years, and she, on camera, got into that pool and conquered that fear. And she had a fear of being limited, and she had a fear of being trapped, she said. And those are a lot of times when I have fears. Those are my fears. That is one of the reasons that I related to her the most. Also, the hardest years of my life with a disability were my teen years, and Mia became paralyzed at the age of 15, so that's another reason why I relate to her. Also, she's the only one of the group who wasn't, I believe, who wasn't originally in some kind of showbiz. They're all friends, and now I think they're all spokespeople for people with disabilities and disability awareness. But Mia wasn't a person that was always in the limelight. Um, she, I don't think wanted to be. I think that she is the most private of the four girls, and she is a graphic designer, which is why I gave the Sim Mia the computer whiz aspiration, and the quick learner is the bonus trait. Um, I gave her the perfectionist trait because I feel that Mia, from what I saw of the show and from what I've read, I feel that she's a perfectionist, but only when it comes to herself. And I feel that I'm a perfectionist, but only when it comes to myself. And I am my worst critic, and I felt when I watched the show that Mia was her own worst critic. But that can sometimes be a good thing because that pushes you to do better and to do your best always. I made Mia the Sim family oriented because although Mia is very independent, and could have made all of I could have did a create a sim where I went over all of the girls and made them all self-assured because they're all self-assured women. But I made Mia family oriented because she really, really wants to have a family. And she's able to have a family. One of the other questions um, I always got was, can you have children? And yes, with a physical disability, depending on what it is, you can have children. In Mia's case, I can have children, and in Mia's case, she can also have children. And she really wants a family, so I gave the sim Mia the family-oriented trait. And I put her in her wedding dress at the beginning of this video instead of her everyday wear because I wanted to do something that I don't normally do for this video. And I just found out that Mia is engaged. And so I'm very happy about that. I was searching something about Puss Girls. I was trying to see if it was coming back on the air. And I saw something on Twitter that she was engaged. I think it was dated October. But let me go into her clothing. This is Mia's everyday wear. I chose this because Mia wears a lot of blue and black shirts I saw on the show. This is obviously her formal wear. It's her wedding gown. This is her athletic wear, which I worked very hard on because she is an athlete. And if you knew her or saw the show, you would see her in a lot of active wear. One of the girls on Push Girls is a dancer and a has an adaptive dance team. And the way her and Mia became friends was she met her somewhere and wanted to recruit her to be a dancer on her dance team. Sleepwear. This is her party wear. And this is very important, her swimwear. And she is back to swimming. But when she did a swim meet, and she didn't do as well as she wanted to do, and she was crying with all her friends there after the meet, I cried with her because I felt a wave of emotion. And that's what Puss Girls did for me. A lot of the time, I'm very strong, and sometimes it helps to cry, even though a person is trying to be strong. And if I cry during an episode of Puss Girls, at the end of the episode, I'd always feel better. So it was very important to me to make Mia as a sim and talk to you today about disability and what I was thinking when I created her. Because there are no disabilities in The Sims 4, which there can be if it's done in a in a good way. Um, if Maxis talks to a lot of people with disabilities and gets a lot of input, I
Hmm.
believe that it can be wheelchairs can be and crutches can be brought into the game uh, if that's something that they want to consider in in a good way and not a negative way. I remember when Barbie when the Barbie doll company came out with Sarah Smile Becky, and I was offended by the name because you hear Dr. Barbie and Lawyer Barbie and Barbie to me has always been whatever a girl wanted her to be, but also very career oriented,
Ooh.
uh, trying to empower girls, even though there is some controversy about how she looks and her organs and how thin she is. There have always been career Barbies, and I had some of them growing up. And Mattel came out with
Hmm.
a doll that they discontinued that was supposed to be Barbie's friend, and her name was Becky. And Becky was Sarah Smile Becky. And I was offended by that name because it wasn't, Dr. Becky who happens to be in a wheelchair. Um,
Hmm.
so it is a sensitive issue, but it's an issue that I believe that Maxis is capable of handling if they want. And I'm not criticizing Maxis in any way. I'm just saying if they go that direction, they really need to think about it and they really need to do it right. Um, and that's probably why they haven't done it because they don't want to offend anybody. But I created my sim self, and when I created my sim self, I gave myself the swagger walk uh, because that is the closest to the way I walk. And I've heard a lot of people say, when looking at the different walk styles of the Sims, that nobody walks like that. Well, that's not true, because my walk is probably the closest to the swagger walk, um, with some exceptions, but I don't walk like everybody else. I don't walk like the default walk in The Sims. And
Hmm.
I could have given myself the feminine walk when I was creating my sim self, but I realized that I have a disability and it is part of who I am, who I uh, who I was shaped into being um, because I have it. Because if I didn't have my disability, I would be a different person. So when I did make my sim self, I spent a lot of time wondering whether I was going to. I went through all the walk styles, and I said, I could give myself the feminine walk, but I gave myself the swagger walk because it was the closest to my walk. And by doing that, I thought that that was a sign of self acceptance. Um, so Maxis did a good job with the swagger walk, and they could do more if they want. If they don't put disabilities in the game, I'm not going to boycott Maxis. I still love the game. I love what it can offer. I love the creativity that
Ah.
it can inspire. I'm just saying that's a direction that they can do in a graceful way if they want to. It can be done nicely. Um, I didn't like the name Sarah Smile Becky because what else can Becky do but Sarah Smile? And having a physical disability, for
Ah.
me, a lot of times growing up, people thought that I was mentally
Oh.
retarded. and I say retarded in the clinical sense. I would never ever call anybody retarded in a derogatory way. But they thought that I was retarded because they thought that anybody who had a physical disability also had to have a mental disability. So I had kids come up to me and say, "I can't believe you're in this talent show." And I would say, "Why not?" "Because you're retarded, aren't you?" "No." And that's when I would educate them. Um, but some people were just really mean and about it. But when you're not scared about it, when you're not mean about it, the barriers go way down. And I guess
Ooh.
by making this video, I'm making it public that I am an advocate for people with disabilities. In a sense, there are some times that I don't want to, there are some times in life you just don't want to be the one to educate. You just don't want to be a poster girl. But I guess by making this video, I hope to be educating you a little bit about people with disabilities. So since I couldn't give Miss Mia a wheelchair to put her in, I gave her the swagger walk.
Ah.
By the time you see this video, the sim will be in the gallery with skills, and I hope you enjoyed this video and that you um, enjoyed my little lecture today, and that you enjoy this sim and put the sim into your game. And if you want to know more about Mia, I will leave some YouTube videos in the description. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Stay tuned and subscribe.